handle your diabetes and keep your A1C low. There's this new product that the Cleveland Clinic is backing. It's this new biotech company. They've got this product called Pendulum. This woman, Colleen Cutcliffe, is this amazing biologist, scientist who has come up with this wonder probiotic, which I know you know about, Akkermansia, which is what makes Pendulum different than anyone on the market. And this is the most important little bug that we need. And they found a way to grow it. And you got to try this. This will change your life. And so when she said the Cleveland Clinic was behind it and the Mayo Clinic was behind it, I thought, well, this sounds like something I should really invest in. And so I took a year. First, I reached out to Colleen and told her I had to try it and introduce myself. And I said, can I please try it? They were gracious enough to send me the product for a year straight to let me try it and see what happened. And I saw the immediate benefits of my A1C being down. I had this thing called cheilitis in my mouth. Cured my cheilitis, you know, and so
it's like inflammation in your mouth.
So I just realized after a year, I thought, wow, this really, you know, it really is changing the game. And I was already somebody pretty healthy, and it changed my game. So I thought, this can surely change the game of people who maybe aren't living as healthy of a lifestyle that I am, and it can really like change lives. And so I asked if I could come on board. I'm like, can I invest? Can I come on board? Can I help in some way? I have to help you get this information out to the people. And she said yes. And so here I am, its biggest supporter.
Oh, that's so great. I mean, it's so important, you know, because people like you getting out there and sharing this brings awareness to so many about the importance of gut health and metabolism. And people think, oh, gut health, but it affects everything, right? It affects your blood sugar, it affects metabolism, affects your mood. I mean, we had Colleen talking before on Instagram Live about this discovery that they found, which was in the soup, that they grew this bacteria. Basically, they grow it in a big vat.
I went there, I saw it.
They found that the liquid in the vat actually had this increase in GABA, which is a neurotransmitter that makes you calm and relaxed. So we don't think of, you know, our gut and our mood being connected, or our gut and our metabolism being connected. But you're right, it's so important to every aspect of our life. And at Cleveland Clinic, they've done a lot of work on gut health, for example, and heart disease, gut health and cancer. And so it's really important for people to think about how to balance their blood sugar. And I had a patient once who was really interesting, who was type 2 diabetic, who was really struggling to get his blood sugar under control, even with a very low carb, high fat diet. And he had all these bloating symptoms, digestive symptoms. I said, look, let's figure this out. But in the meantime, why don't you try some charcoal, because it can help the bloating. And he said, within hours, his blood sugar started dropping, and it normalized within a very short time, because the bacteria, the bad bugs in there, were producing all sorts of toxins that were making him inflamed and making his blood sugar out of balance. So we don't realize how important the gut is in regulating our blood sugar. And one of the products is the glucose control product that's made with this bacteria.
And you can also,
what have you noticed?
And to that point, what I also love about Pendulum too is, if you just want to get Akkermansia, you can just get Akkermansia, because some people find that they are just lower in Akkermansia. That's something I've learned through my research with Pendulum, is that most people, well, many people are low in that little bug Akkermansia, right? Even if they have a good diet and they're taking a different kind of probiotic, they might not have enough Akkermansia. And in a very layman's terms, Colleen made me understand that what Akkermansia does is keep the good bugs in and the bad bugs out, right? And everybody needs that to have a healthy gut. And so that's interesting as I go around talking to people who think, oh, I'm on a great probiotic and I got it all under control. I'm like, but how much Akkermansia do you have in that probiotic that you're taking? And most of them, not enough. So I think that's the there about Pendulum.
Or not at all, actually. Yeah, it was interesting, Halle, when I started working on understanding Akkermansia, there wasn't even a company that had it on the market, because it's very hard to grow, it's very hard to get. So you'd have to eat foods that help Akkermansia grow. All the colorful plant foods like green tea, pomegranate, cranberry, various things, prickly pear, all help fertilize and grow the Akkermansia. But you couldn't take it. Now this company, Pendulum Therapeutics, has the ability to provide it as a supplement.
And the truth is, even the most healthy people who focus on their diet, who's going to do that? Like, who's going to really do that, right? So if you can take it, it just makes our life a bit easier, right? Because that can become daunting too, trying to,
Yeah.
I used to have a list of all the foods that I used to have to eat, and it became something that sort of threatened to like co-opt my life, you know, because at the same time you want to be healthy, but you also want to live life. And when you have to think about, okay, all these things I have to eat to grow some acromantia, if you can just take a pill that puts that in your gut, like what a benefit that is. I know it's been a benefit to me and what it would be to other people.
Well, you know, it's so important because 93.2% of Americans are in poor metabolic health, which means they have some level of imbalance in their blood sugar. And obviously diet plays a huge role, but you have been very aggressive with your diet. You've been on a keto diet or very low carb, high fat diet for years to manage your diabetes, but this actually added
extra benefit. And here's the funny thing. I was having a ketogenic diet and I was in ketosis and I didn't even know what that was. You know? Yeah, I didn't even know. It was just the way that I was managing my sugar with, you know, low carb, you know, high protein, you know, low carb fruits and vegetables too. Like I had no idea that ketosis was even really a thing. It was just the way I was managing since I was very young. So when, you know, this idea of a ketogenic diet and ketosis became sort of chic for everybody to talk about, and I looked into it, the first time I took my levels, I thought, oh, hell, I'm in ketosis. And it's supposed to be a really hard thing to get into, right? I understand that, but I was already operating there. So I had been taking my diet and my health and exercise really, really seriously for a long time. And so you're right. If it moves my needle, then I'm just super excited about the needle it can move for, you know, the general public who, you know, maybe doesn't have diabetes or type 2 diabetes, and you're not living, you know, haven't changed your life to have a strict lifestyle diet, you know, in order for you to have optimum health. But just, you know, and so many people think that they're healthy, you know, they're fit, they're not overweight, they don't think they have any problems, but it doesn't necessarily mean they have a healthy gut and that their body is really working for them in the best way, right? And that they're actually metabolizing all of their food and getting all the nutrients to their body. So appearance is one thing, but it doesn't mean, you know, you got those healthy bugs in there.
That's right. I mean, I think people don't realize how much we do to mess up our gut, our crappy diet, processed food, food additives, sugar, alcohol, sweeteners, all these things damage our microbiome. Antibiotics, acid blocking drugs. The list goes on, environmental toxins. And so most of our microbiomes in the West are pretty degraded, and it has a huge impact on aging and on our health in general, on driving inflammation and driving poor metabolic health. And so this is like a relatively simple approach you can take in addition to your lifestyle and diet to actually restore your microbiome. And many people have very, very low Akkermansia levels. I check it all the time in my practice. I do stool testing and we see, and I can tell you if they have none and how to actually bring it back. So
I did that too. I did a food test. I didn't have any. And I was really taking this is how I know, I was taking every probiotic there was. I had very low to no Akkermansia when I did it. So, and I would have said, oh, I'm healthy. I got the probiotic situation under control. But after meeting Colleen and that being asked to, well, go see how much Akkermansia you had. Nada. So I'm proof that you can think you're in a good position. You know, you can think your gut is healthy, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is.
It's true, and one of the ways this is different than other probiotics is that it's the full name is Akkermansia Mucinophilia, and that means mucus loving. And what it does is it actually helps build a mucus layer in the gut that protects you from having a leaky gut. Leaky gut is when your barrier is not working and food proteins and bacterial toxins and other things leak across it and are exposed to your immune system. And why is that bad? Well, it can create inflammation in your body. But what really it does is it causes a condition that, I don't know if you've heard about, Halle, it's called metabolic endotoxemia, which is essentially a condition where you're producing toxins in your gut from bad bugs that are absorbed and activate your immune system. And then when that happens, it creates a metabolic disaster where you get inflammation causing insulin resistance, and then you get diabetes. So it's very connected. We understand the biology of this. It was very inadequate ways before to actually make this happen. So it's kind of exciting.
And I'm just really grateful that Pendulum allowed me to come on board and sort of be their advocate and sort of go out into the communities and try to get people to understand the importance of their gut and then offer them a solution. you know, that makes me really proud to be able to go out with something that not only do I believe in, but is so backed by, you know, look at you, you're sitting here talking about the effects of it.
There's
you
a lot
know,
of science.
the Mayo Cleveland Clinic,
Yeah.
you know,
There's a lot of
and that makes me feel really proud to know that this is really
it's
somewhat of a miracle product in the, you know, probiotic space, and then I get to attach myself to this and go out and, you know, help raise awareness. And, you know, through the work I do, my Respin brand that I'm working on, that we can go and we can help people really, you know, change their lives. And just by taking these little pills, it really will move their needle. It really, really will. And that really excites me. So.
Yeah, it's pretty important. And it's interesting that you've chosen to do this, because like you're going to be acting career and you've had a lot of success, but this is like your second act, right? Like you're focusing on health.
Well, what happens,
wellness.
Doctor, when you go down the path of life? Get to a certain age and your mortality comes into play, and you think, oh God, you know, I better start really not only taking it more seriously myself, but helping other people realize this day will come, and you want to be on the, you know, good side of good when that happens. And so you want to start taking care of yourself as early as you possibly can, so you can go down that path of life and avoid diabetes if you can, heart disease. You don't want to have a stroke. You know, you don't want to have kidney or liver disease. Like having a good gut can help with all of those things. So you're never too young to start thinking about your gut.
You know, it's true. I mean, I think, you know, as a functional medicine doctor, you know, it's remarkable how many things can be fixed by fixing your gut, right? Autoimmune disease, mood disorders, ADD, autism, obviously things like, you know, allergies and asthma.
And here's another thing. I got
like,
diagnosed with workout-induced asthma as I got older. I got on glucose control and acromantia. That's gone. It's helped with that workout-induced asthma. I never had asthma. I know we can grow in and out of asthma. I grew into workout-induced because of, I think, all the physical activity the last years I've been doing and the roles I've been playing. Got on glucose control and extra acromantia. I no longer have to take my inhaler before I work out. So, and that's the only new thing that I've added to my regime. So I attribute it to that, you know, so.
Yeah, so, exactly. So, you know, Halle, you're talking about your, you know, your diabetes and your blood sugar management, but it's not just about that. It's actually everything. And it's crazy that it impacts your risk of heart disease, your cancer risk, and obviously even aging. I mean, as I wrote this new book called Young Forever, which just came out, one of the things that was really enlightening was how much of a role our degraded microbiome plays in the speed of our aging. So if we can actually upgrade our biology, then that is a huge factor in improving our overall longevity strategy. And I think, you know, it's something that's relatively easy to do. And Akkermansia is one of the most important species in your gut that we really haven't had a probiotic for.
Until Pendulum. You know, I went and visited, you know, their, you know, where they actually make it. And I got to really understand why it was so hard, because I was there questioning them. Why is this? How come nobody's been able to make this before? And, you know, they took me through a very lengthy, you know, process. But the truth of it is because this Akkermansia, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. The Akkermansia has to grow like in your gut lining. There's zero oxygen. And so it has to grow in that environment. And it's been really hard for other companies to crack the code as to how to grow this Akkermansia the proper way so that they can make it available to everyone. And Colleen Cutcliffe and her team, they cracked the code. And I went to the lab and I actually saw them making it, and I saw what went into it. And it's a big, huge production. And she spent like 10 years trying to figure this out because she knew that it would be a game changer in probiotics. And I'm sure she's right.
It really is. I mean, I think it's one of the most important advances in probiotics. And there's customized probiotics for all sorts of different conditions, but Akkermansia is one of the most important. It's like we call it a keystone species, sort of like critical for all the other health of all the other microbiomes. So it's about 1 to 5% of our gut bacteria, and it's many have very little or none. I had none. You had none. It's not uncommon, you know, when you have different insoles and stresses. So it's pretty great. And I just want to thank you for being a voice for this, for sharing your story, for being an advocate for people to improve their metabolic health, because we're in trouble in America. We got to fix it. And this is, you know, a nice, simple way that you can.
And one last thing I'll say, it's become a buzzword, you know, gut health, gut health, gut health. But what I want people to know is that every probiotic is not created equal because I've tried them all, I feel like, in the last 20 years as I've been on my quest to maintain my blood sugar and my A1C and keep my diabetes under control. And they're all not created equal. And I'm on a mission to get everyone to understand really how above Pendulum actually is, you know, that it really is a product that you won't find anywhere else. This Akkermansia is really a game changer, and I've made it my personal mission to sort of get that out to as many people as I possibly can. I think it's that important.
Well, thank you, Halle. It's great to have you on our Instagram platform. And anybody listening, you can go to pendulumtherapeutics.com and you get 20% off using the code Hyman. It's great they've offered that to everybody who's watching. And thanks for what you're doing, getting the word out.
I hope so too. I would love that. You're not far from me. You're in the neighborhood, so we should be able to make this happen. I live in sort of up in Los Angeles. You're here too. You're in California,
okay.
yes?
All right. I come a lot. Yeah, I'm not.
I thought you lived here.
No, but I'll find you when I come down.
Well, you have a standing invite.
All right, it was great. Thank you. It was great to see you. And thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you. Good to see you too. Thanks for having me. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Okay.